Welcome to the Dawn Jarvis Show with Dawn Jarvis, the diverse nurse. And in this podcast, we will be talking about healthcare, self-care, diversity, careers, and well-being from a Black woman's perspective. We're really happy that you're here. So if you're ready, let's get on with the show.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Dawn Jarvis Show. And I'm Dawn Jarvis, the diverse nurse. This is the video podcast where I talk to and about busy leaders, professionals and business owners about who they are, what they do, why they do it. And they're all part of my diverse nurse network. And I learn about how they prioritise their own health and well-being to stay focused, positive and productive. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by the wonderful Nicola Lafayette. And today she's going to share her expertise and give us some marketing tips for entrepreneurs. I met Nicola on Clubhouse and we did some rooms together. We shared a club together and we are very good friends. So it's an absolute pleasure that she's here. Nicola started the NL Marketing Consultancy 2.5 years ago. After a long career working in senior marketing roles, she specialises in supporting small businesses with their marketing plans and strategies, offering both strategic and tactical expertise, working with you to identify and shape your marketing strategies while simultaneously putting the plan into action. Today, Nicola is going to share her marketing tips and nuggets, which include just do it, to plan is to succeed, and don't despair when things don't go as planned. This sounds really good, Nicola. Hi, Nicola. How are you?
Hi, Dawn. Oh, thank you for having me on. I'm really very good. And you?
I'm good, thank you. It's really good to see you. I'm looking forward to our chat. Now, Nicola's my friend. We met during lockdown and we never actually met in person, but we're going to have to do something about that really quickly. Yes. So we met on the internet and in Clubhouse. So yeah, and we've done some work together and yeah, she's fantastic. So I'm looking forward to this. So I'm going to start off with, tell me all about you, who you are and how you got to where you are today. But I also wanted to sort of say with that, you're a marketing consultant. And before I was a business owner, everybody knows I was a nurse and I worked in the public sector and had no idea people talk about marketing. What is marketing? I didn't really know what that meant. And as a business owner, marketing is almost everything really to get your message out there. So it'd be really good if you could sort of like share with the audience, what a marketing consultant is and how they can help, leaders and business owners and how you do that.
Sure. Oh, fine. That's great. Well, what I'll do is just tell you a little bit about my journey first, and then I'll say what, basically a marketing consultant does. So I started my career oh God, now I'm going to show my age, Dawn. Back in the late 1990s, I was working in the hotel industry in Jamaica, because as you know, I'm Jamaican.
Nicola's Jamaican and I'm Jamaican heritage, but Nicola's proper Jamaican.
And so I worked in the hotel industry for a bit, and in Jamaica, and I got a bit burnt out and I decided that I wanted to do something else. So I came to the UK and did my master's degree in international marketing. And so that was in 2002. And I've started, basically after I did that, I worked within corporate B2B businesses in marketing departments. And then in 2015, I got made redundant and I got pregnant, had my little one now. Lovely. And my husband got an opportunity to go abroad, and we went abroad as a family for 2 years. And then I with the children, came back because my eldest was going to do GCSEs. And Dawn, I'll be honest, the idea of having to go back into corporate world filled me with dread. I couldn't do the corporate animal anymore. Just the politicking and all of that. And I just thought, I can't do the bureaucracy. Yeah. And I thought to myself, well, why not try and freelance? Literally, why not try it? If it doesn't work, you can go back into corporate, because the last position before I left was head of marketing. So I can always go back if I need to, but why not try it? And this kind of goes to my point about just doing it. I didn't have a plan at that point. I had just my CV, my experience, and I started to look for clients. And that was the August, September. And I found my first 2 clients in the September, October. One of those clients I've been with now for coming up to 3 years in November. So that's a bit of my journey in terms of, the marketing sphere. Like I said, before I used to be predominantly B2B, but now I find I work with customers who are B2B, B2C, advising them. So what does a marketing consultant do? And I love that question. Like, what is marketing? What does a marketing consultant do? Because a lot of people think marketing is all about the promotion, the flashy, the adverts, all of that bit. That's part of marketing, but marketing is a very, very large discipline. It has many things that come under it. So yes, you do have promotion, you do have pricing, you have strategy, you have branding, you have digital, you have product development. Social media falls into that. So there are many varying different facets to it. So what I do is I work with my clients first on their strategy. So a marketing consultant can help you with their strategy. They can either write you your strategy and you implement it yourself, or they can help you with the implementation. So I help them with their strategy, identify what is it they're trying to do for their business, and then look at the varying different channels by which they want to deliver that strategy. And if it's, do we want to build brand awareness and reach, with then the, funneling people to sales ultimately. So, and you can do that with, some people like to go to an agency because you get marketing agencies that can help with that, or you get freelancers who can help with that. But because marketing is such a varied discipline, I always say to people, get somebody professional to help you with it. Yes, you can read and do this. And some people can, depending on your aptitude, can get on with it and do it. But sometimes, because there's so many aspects to it, sometimes it's better just to get someone to help you or give you a little bit of direction. So I do that predominantly with my clients. I give them direction and then I will help them with the execution. So for one client at the moment, I do, I look after their social media, I do their internal, external newsletters, website management, a bit of copywriting. So, and those are all varying different facets of marketing. So I do hope I've answered that.
Yeah, you have. That's fantastic. And I think if you haven't got a need, you don't know what's involved, as I didn't know what's involved, but it's really important. And I think the main thing that I've taken it is that you help people with strategy, because literally with my marketing, and I've spoken to you about my marketing, you just don't know where to start, don't you? Because it's all a new thing. So previously on social media and marketing, it was just like, oh yeah, how do I stay at this, at the spa? It's great. And then, but now it's sort of it's sort of, not all of it, but some of it has to be related to my business and what I want to achieve in my business. And that's the strategy, isn't it, really?
And that's important, like you're saying, that part of your strategy is understanding what your objectives are. What is it you're doing and why? The why is the important bit. Why are you doing it? What is the purpose? And from you can understand your objectives and your purpose behind it, then it helps to focus your mind on what you're trying to do to reach your audience. So, I always say, start with your objectives. What is it that you are trying to do and why? So the what and the why, because then that drives everything else from there.
Brilliant. So you mentioned this a little bit before about just do it. So what I really liked about your story, and I think there's a lot of people this will resonate with, because of you were made redundant, you sort of changed country and situations, you came back, and you thought, you had a senior job where you were the head of, marketing, you can do that. And then you thought, I don't want to do that actually. And your situation, your head changes, doesn't it? And I totally get that, because that happened to me too. Just like, I could get a job, yeah. But, I don't really want to. But then you sort of have to take this leap, don't you? This sort of leap of faith. And I really like what you say about just do it. Talk a little bit about that, because I think people sort of have to sort of go for it. And even with a marketing campaign, you know, I know people who are just like, well, you know, I've got great products, I've got great service, people should just buy it. And, you know, and it doesn't really go like that, does it? So, you know.
It doesn't really go like that. How life has change now is you have to tell people what to do. So yeah, you can have a great product or a great service, but if you're not telling people, contact me, buy my service, or offering them something, well, you'll just have a great product sat down on the shelf. But just to the point about just doing it, you know, sometimes you find we get very much into our heads, and you can overthink and overthink and overthink. And I'm not sat here saying, no, you shouldn't have some sort of plan. Of course, you should have a plan. You know, you need to understand what you're doing, but you can sit for days and days on end, and there will always be a reason why you shouldn't. And I enjoy what I do now. I'm not saying I don't have days where I just think I want to scream, and I do scream.
Yes, Nicola. Yes.
Yeah. You know, I do
know.
scream,
yes.
Sometimes, but I thoroughly enjoy what I'm doing now. And, you know, okay, I'm not making what I used to make as head of marketing, and I haven't scaled yet. And that's for a number of reasons. You know, it's me, but that's because I enjoy the relationship that I have with my clients. And if I hadn't done what I did back in 2.5 years ago, I wouldn't be where I am today. It affords me the flexibility with my children. You know, I have a 17-year-old and a 5-year-old, and they're both at varying ends of the spectrum and require quite a lot of my time. And what I'm doing facilitates that. So I would say to anybody, yes, you know, I get imposter syndrome. You know, sometimes you sit there and you think, do I really know this? Oh, but you do. You do. And having a great network, like, you know, Dawn, you know, I'll message you or I'll call you. And I have a really supportive network of other women who are in marketing, who are so helpful that it makes the journey easier. We all have bad days, and we're all going to have bad days. I've had, you know, all kinds of things will happen. But sometimes you just take the leap. And guess what? If it doesn't work out, you pick yourself up and you go and do something else.
Yeah, I think that's
I always said, if this wasn't going to work, I could find a job. I didn't want to, but I couldn't. So sometimes we just need to come out of our heads. Stop thinking about, you know, and social media doesn't help this. You're thinking, oh my God, do I need to do Instagram? Do I need to be on TikTok? Do I need to be on LinkedIn? Do I need to be on Snapchat? Oh, do I need a website? Do I need this? Clear the noise. Think about what it is you're trying to do, why you're trying to do it, who you're trying to target, and then just do it.
Love it.
Try it. Just try it. Yeah. And you'll be surprised what will happen. You will be surprised.
I totally agree, because I think even if you have that thing in your head, you know, everyone's got commitments. Everyone's got family commitments. They've got, you know, financial commitments, and you know, I'm a great one. I really like what you said. You know, you take a calculated risk. I did when I started my business. I gave myself 6 months. I had an objective, and I was thinking, if I don't meet that objective, I can get a job. You know, but this is what I want to do, and just do it. And you have to sort of like take a leap in the dark, really, and find your way. And some things are going to work, and some things aren't going to work. But you find what's acceptable, and if it's totally unacceptable, you know, I guess you do have to think about your fallback position, but it's a positive fallback position, isn't it? That, you know, it's a calculated risk. No, I'm not a gambler, you know, I take calculated risks. So, you know, because there are things at stake, like your children and, you know, your house and things like that. So yeah, I think I really, really like that. And although you say, you said earlier that you didn't have a crystallized plan, and there's always reasons not to do stuff, but to plan is to succeed is one of your sayings, isn't it? And so from my point of view, you sort of have to have a goal that where you want to get to, and then and the journey could do anything. That it's, if you have somewhere you're going, you know what I mean? Then you're going to get there because you're going in that direction, aren't you? So talk to me a little bit more about to plan is to succeed.
And like you've just said, you need to have an idea of your journey. Where you're trying to get to? What's your end results? What's the purpose of your business? Are you trying to sell a service? Are you trying to sell a product? Are you trying to create brand awareness? Are you trying to reach more people? So you might think, okay, in my first year of business, I want to focus mostly on brand awareness and reach, of course, with sales, but the more you're getting out there and interacting with customers and developing that kind of brand loyalty. And it could also be building your email list. Mm-hmm. So it's important to have some kind of plan. I mean, in our daily lives, we plan.
Yes, we do.
You have to, you plan what you're going to do with your day. Okay, I need to do this. When we're what I call adulting, as an adult, you have to plan.
Yeah.
And it's no different for your business if you want it to succeed. And part of your planning is how you're going to go about your marketing. So, like you said, have your goals, your objectives, then, you can figure out who your customers are. And I always say to people, and I know there are a lot of people like, oh, I don't believe in persona, building. No, I think you do need to understand who your ideal client is, because if you don't understand who your ideal client is, well, you might not see the results that you want. So, and people are like, well, how do you go about that? Well, you can do just simple research, and you don't have to go out and buy research to do that. What you can do is participate in, if you're on LinkedIn, go into different LinkedIn groups and see what people are talking about. Or if you're on Facebook groups, even Clubhouse is where you can go on to Clubhouse, go look for the, whatever it is you're doing and hear what people are talking about, get a feel for people, get up on stage and start asking questions, start your own room about a particular topic. And those are now easy ways to do research. If you already have a client base or people, send out surveys. You can do Google Docs, do, Google Forms, you can do short surveys just to start to get a feel of, who your ideal client is, what they want. And that's part of planning. That is part of planning. You don't need to spend a lot of time on it, but, especially if you're just starting up a small business, because of course you can get, again, bogged down in all of that. But I just think those are the little things that are important. And then think about your making inbound marketing a priority. And when I say inbound marketing is, you use inbound marketing to attract people to you and to get interest about you. And you can do that by blogs, social media, having a website where you put, content on there, make sure it's optimized for search engines. It's little things like that that help in the planning process. But I know these things take time and money, but you can plan them over time to implement. Everything doesn't have to happen now.
No, and I think that's where people, because like marketing's the thing, you think, oh, I need to do marketing, and then you think, I need a website, I need this, I need an audience, I need an email list, I need, and there's loads of people who want to sell you all that, but it's really important to have a plan before you start buying anything into that. And I really like what you said, because it's sort of like, it goes into sort of my networking sort of thing, sort of like go into LinkedIn groups or Facebook groups that are in your interest, find out what people are saying, what are their pain points, what do they need, and how can you help them with that? Because it's all about, people buy things they need, don't they? Which is it's about marketing, isn't it? And so
people buy things they don't need.
I do, and I do. Anyone who knows me knows this. But you know, it's sort of like, it's like, and you're tapping into, you know, what do people think about? It's sort of like, you know, like we could start up a little agency, couldn't we, for people who want to leave their corporate jobs and start their own businesses, you know, because, you know, that's a need that we have both identified ourselves, you know, that it's that sort of thing, isn't it? You know, listening to, you know, shows like this, you know, going on social media, what are people talking about that relates to what you do? So, you know, I know with my marketing, I've almost realised that I am my ideal customer. You know, the people I'm serving are people like me, about my age. You know, doing the things that I'm doing. So, you know, and so, you know, what do I need? You know, and I suppose that's nothing you can do. You can think about what you need, don't you, as well?
Exactly. And some of it is what you can call, you know, active listening. Because one thing I do say to people also, when you start to listen and interact with your ideal customer, if you realize, for instance, that your ideal customer doesn't use social media, don't use social media. So what that also does is it helps you to decide what channels you're going to use, be them online or offline, to target your audience. You know, and I think because social media has come so to the fore at the moment, everybody thinks, oh, I have to. No, it can all get very overwhelming, and it's not supposed to be overwhelming. And there's so many gurus. I don't say I'm a guru. I don't particularly like the word expert, because platforms change on such a rapid basis at the moment that sometimes I sit down there and think, dear God. I mean, I'll be honest, when Instagram, Facebook and all of that went down, I was like, oh, thank you. But for me, that was a great thing, because I was able to say to some of my clients and people I talk to, this is why you need to build things like your own email database. This is why you need to have something like your own website, because a lot of these other platforms are third party. You don't own them. You need to own your own collateral. You need to use your own media. Even start thinking about writing articles for magazines.
Yeah.
You know, magazines are still out there, writing articles, getting, you know, editorial or doing advertorials. And of course, these things cost money. But, you know, Dawn, I didn't have my website, which, you know, until the beginning of this year, because these things take money and time. You know, the clients I had didn't necessarily need to see my business Instagram account, because my work and my CV and what I do speaks for itself. You know, I will never forget somebody on Clubhouse when I first went on, went, oh, well, you don't have an Instagram page. How can you know how to do social media? I went, really? Is that really your question? You know, that doesn't necessarily mean I don't know what I'm doing. So, you know, there's a lot of noise out there, and I think you just need to plan, because planning helps you to filter out the noise.
Yeah, I love that. And also, you know, I know you don't like the word expert, but you are an expert, Nicola. You do know that. And you know, even the example about Facebook and Instagram going down, because, you know, a lot of people, you know, I know someone that, you know, their account got hacked on Facebook and that was their business, and it was a disaster. And if they hadn't got their email list, that would have been it. So, you know, that, because all of those contacts were gone. So, you know, and it's sort of like you almost, and I think this is the sort of thing you help people with. So if, and we've got the example, so in my business, you know, we do risk management, and it's sort of like, so one of the risks, if Facebook and Instagram go down, what are you going to do? You know, and for me, that is around your business. If you're relying on one social media, you know, outlet, if that outlet fails, what are you going to do? So like, it's like, you know, in my business, in the health business, you know, what if there's a worldwide pandemic? That literally
it was, yeah.
And it was a risk, and we knew about it before, that it was a possibility it was going to happen. It happened. So, you know, so sometimes, you know, and that's part of the planning, isn't it? Really,
that is part of the planning, looking at what's happening in the digital sphere, but also off the digital sphere, and start to plan for that. So, like you're saying, you can have a Facebook group, but make sure you're getting people's email address. You can have LinkedIn, you can do your business on those platforms, but make sure you're getting details to people that you can contact them, and that you are engaging with them on a monthly basis via something like an email newsletter, that you're sending out campaigns. I think, if somebody has bought your product or used your service and you have their email address, well, they know who you are, they know your brand, they trust your brand. Who better than to upsell something to?
Yeah. And it's all about trust as well, isn't it? Because they know you, because they've engaged with you at some level. So, an email address is currency, really, isn't it? I know I'm really careful who I give my email address to. So, so that's something to think about, isn't it? Around, what are the foundations of your business? So things don't always go to plan, though, and even the best laid plans. And I'm a great one for, we're going over here, but we might do a detour. And someone once in a coaching session said to me, it's a bit like going on a journey, but there's a car crash and you have to do a detour. It's about, how you're going to go around those obstacles and stuff. So one of your things is, don't despair when things don't go as planned. And I was just wanted to know what your thoughts are around that.
Like you said, some days things go, the whole plan goes awry, doesn't it? And you think, oh my God, how did I end up here? What happened? It's not the end of the world. Things happen. And in the marketing sphere, things happen. I manage, I think, 4 or 5 social media accounts. I've posted to the wrong account already. And you think, and that's a social media manager's worst nightmare, right? You just think, oh my God, but okay, have a breath, go on, delete it, whatever, you deal with it. A client doesn't pay, you've sent an email out that shouldn't have gone out, things, or a campaign that you've done hasn't worked. Okay, step back, look at why what's happened has happened, reassess, and go again. And it might, in your reassessment, be that, what, I need to get some professional help because I'm not sure what I'm doing. It might be that you're not looking at your insights, because something I realize people don't do when they're doing marketing. Anything that you do, you should always look at your insights, right? Measure, and analyze your measuring. I had a conversation with somebody the other day, and they asked me, and I'll just say this quickly, the question they asked me was, oh, marketers are always telling me to spend all of this money. So if I spent $10,000 on a campaign, how do I know if it works? And I said, well, you need to look at your insights. If you're running, you decided to run a campaign that's $10,000 US, you must have put measurement techniques in place so you can measure your ROI. So if you've done it in press, you would have like some kind of tracking code. If you're doing something online, you would also have some kind of tracking code, et cetera, et cetera. And they went, oh, well, I don't know much about marketing, but I would have thought you need to know who your target audience is. So I said, well, I'm sorry, that's not the question you asked me. Of course, you need to know who your target audience is. That's part of what you do at the start, in terms of who you're going to run the campaign to, right? And I walked away from that thinking, that's marketing 101. You asked me a question about how do I measure, and you've gone somewhere else. And measurement, people need to understand, is measurement is the analytics of it all. So you can use your Google Analytics. If you're on any of the social platforms, Facebook owns Instagram, right? Mm-hmm. They have, if you're using things like Facebook Business Suite, you can get all the analytics there. If you're using, a social media management tool, they have. So always look, whatever you're doing, look at your analytics and then decide, okay, where did I go wrong? And if you can't decipher the analytics, then get somebody to help you. Get some assistance, get professional help. There is always somebody out there who's willing to assist you, but it's not the end of the world. Okay, it's gone wrong. And sometimes things need to go wrong for you to get on the right track, because it could mean that it's gone wrong and you've not had the sales you want because you're not targeting your ideal audience. So it might be looking back at who your ideal audience is and then going again, because part of marketing, Dawn, is some of it is trial and error.
Yeah, I really like what you said. I really like what you said, because it's a bit like, so I've got a background in program management and improvement, and it's all around having sort of a hypothesis and testing it out, looking at the data as a result, and then doing another plan. And I think that's exactly what you're saying. So you think, oh yeah, I want to sell X, whether that's a product or a service. This is the marketing strategy, and then you do whatever you're doing, and then you'll say, how did people respond to that? Did they like it? Did they ignore it? Or even, what sort of, if you go, let's talk social media, because I think lots of people can understand that even if they're not comfortable with it. If you put out a certain post, what were the posts that got the most likes and the responses? And it could be as simple as that, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Which ones did people engage with you around? And and what do you glean from that information? And that and that it doesn't have to be all that complicated. People know what people like and what people respond to, and depending on whether you want to build an audience or actually sell something, it all tells you something, doesn't it, around what kind of response. So I've always found that the posts I put on Facebook around my personal life get loads of responses because people are nosy. And they,
those that are more personal are the ones that get a lot more interaction, and that's just across most platforms than any of your other posts. And you're like, well, because people want to know about you the person, who they're buying from, who is this, what are your value system, of course you have, because you have those big brands, but people's likes and wants and needs are changing. And so they want to feel that they have a personal connection with you. Just on that, the testing, because I'm all about testing, like you said. And what I want to say, no marketing strategy is set in stone. So, okay, you'll have a marketing plan, but that is why ever so often, like every 6 months or so, you may review it. Or you have objectives, or you look at yourself and think, okay, well, I need to tweak this because it changed. So for instance, a few weeks ago, Instagram creator account came out and said, oh, you should only use 3 to 5 hashtags now. And it's like, oh, Jesus, good God. First it
oh, no.
8 to 30, then it was 10 to 8 to 3 to 5. And everybody, oh my God, no, test and see what works for you. So far, I've been testing on different accounts, and I can't tell you that I've seen a difference if I put 3 to 5 hashtags to 18 to 30, right? At the moment, so I'm testing, and I will continue testing and see what has the most. So, don't change your complete strategy because the creator's account on Instagram says, oh, you should use 3 to 5. No, everything requires you to test and look, because you might find that you use 3 to 5 and nobody sees you. Or there is no difference between using 3 to 5 or 18 to 30, which you could think, well, okay, I don't need to spend my time listing out 18 hashtags. Right. So, it is, sometimes things don't go to plan. That's life. But what do? You pick yourself back up, you reassess your situation, and you go again.
Brilliant. I love that. That's really, really good. And I think the thing is, I think it also helps you to build your expertise by looking at your results, doesn't it? Because that's how you get your experience, isn't it? And and just because someone's saying that doesn't necessarily mean that's right for you, but you have to develop that. You have to know your business. You need to know your content. You need to see those things for yourself. And and I think like the marketing skills can help you with that, but you need to know your business. So this is a personal thing. I don't think that it's really important to me that I know what's going on in my business. You know what I mean? I don't want to hand it over to somebody and say, well, you do that. I might do eventually, but I need to know what's happening, so I can say, oh yeah, that works, that doesn't, and think about the relationships as well. So that's brilliant. Right. So I'm a nurse. Nominally, this podcast is about health and well-being and productivity and being positive. So I know that, like all of us, you're not just a marketing consultant, you're a mother, you're a daughter, you're a wife, you're a business owner, you're a taxi driver, How do you keep yourself focused and positive when you're sort of like spinning so many plates? When I first started blogging years ago, I was going to call it spinning plates. I really was. That was what, because that's how I felt I was. I was like, oh,
I love that, spinning plates. That's because, of course, like you said, that's what you do. I'll be honest, Dawn, there are days when I just think, and this is part of what I love about being a business owner, that if I get up and I just think, you know what, I need a day.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, I need a day. And I'll be like, okay, I'm not going to work today. Now, of course, that comes with this, you need to understand what that means. That I don't get paid, but what's more important, my peace of mind and my well-being, or the money.
Mm-hmm.
So there are days where I do nothing, because I like doing nothing. Or
so do I. So good, isn't it?
I love so many people. I'm like, they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing. They're saying, what do you mean you're not doing anything? I quite happily do nothing. I can leave everything. My house could be chaos, and I'll just step over it all, and just be like, okay, this is a me day. Or I love, the other day I went and had afternoon tea, a little tea shop in Leamington Spa, living up in the Midlands. And I took a book and I went and I had afternoon tea and I've read.
Oh, that's fun.
And I think it's important to carve out time for yourself. You have to. If not, you're just, for me, it's like that hamster on the wheel. You're just constantly going, and that's how you end up. And as a business owner, it's easy to get burnt out. Because you're constantly going, I always joke, and I keep saying I'm going to make my next reel about it. Oh, I left 9 to 5 because I wanted to work for myself and have more time. But there are days when I'm working, you're working constantly.
Girl, I haven't worked so hard since I left 9 to 5. My gosh. I worked so hard. This is part of why I started the podcast, because it was supposed to be easier. That's not what happened at all. So that's sort of, as you say, and I realized this about 6 months in. I was thinking, hang on a minute, I'm doing 18-hour days now. This is mad. How can my theory is that you have to be quite driven. You have to be sort of like doing it, and yet you have to put the work in, particularly when you're establishing your business. However, you cannot perform like that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365. It's impossible. You'd just be wasted and just lying there, not getting out of bed. So as a business owner, as a leader, as a professional, you need to think, so as part of your plan, how are you gonna sort of focus that time in for you, which is not about I need to put 3 posts on Instagram a day, what am I going to say, which is something I worry about and don't do. But so it happened a day, like on Sunday, I had loads to do. Just lay on the sofa, it was cool. Watch Netflix, lovely. So and then
sometimes that's what you have to do. For me, that's what I do. It's just kind of like, okay, I need a minute, and I lean into it. If I feel mentally exhausted, because even something you just said about Instagram and posting. So I'm creating posts for my clients. It's writing content, because you see people. I was explaining to somebody, because they thought everybody I do it on the day. I'm like, no, that's not what we do. We plan. We plan.
Yes.
We plan.
We're going back to planning.
Exactly. I plan out, everybody's content gets planned. Some clients, I can plan an entire month in advance, and I'll take 2 days, bam, plan. Some of the clients, depending what they are, it might be 2 weeks in advance, plan, done, because there are other things to do. Everything gets scheduled and it goes out, and they're like, oh, so when the posts go out, that's not you doing. I'm like, no. No, so when you're doing it, and it is very draining, social media is draining. I mean, my own personal now, I couldn't, no, because I just don't have the bandwidth. And like you said, when you have kids, you have a house to run, a husband, everything, you have to find that time. And I do, I desperately do. There are days when I'm just like, I will just lock myself in the back, run a bath. I'm just like, yeah, this is me, nobody trouble me. And they know, bless my kids, they're like, Mummy needs some alone time.
Yeah, that's good. And it's good to have those boundaries, isn't it? So people know, don't they, as well. And I think that's part of it as well, is having those boundaries around yourself, and to plan that in, that is to be boundaried. And I think that's a really good thing to do. You mentioned reading, and I know, because I know you, that that you're a great reader, and I know that you did a Jamaican book club in Clubhouse, and I was just wondering and I know that you talked about sometimes you use reading as your escape, and I say to my kids, when we were kids, we didn't have Xbox, we'd had a book, so that's what we did. So I still do that. So I'd really love to hear your book recommendations.
Oh, I've read, yes, I love reading. I escape into reading. It's something that I absolutely love. So 3 books that I've just read. So I've read, it's called How to Love a Jamaican by Alexia Arthurs. Then I also read Friendship Estate, which is by Linda Edwards. And then there's a book of poetry by a friend of mine also, Natalie Cortese. She just finished her other book of poetry called Sky Juice. Now, these are all Caribbean authors, and I do love to support my Caribbean authors.
Yeah.
So I've just literally finished Natalie's poetry. And, if you come from, you don't have to be of Caribbean heritage, but if you come from Caribbean heritage, and Natalie's Jamaican also, when you read it, the poetry she has you in stitches. How to Love a Jamaican are short stories, lovely short stories about, people who live in the diaspora from Jamaican descent. And Friendship Estate was written back in the days of slavery. Before the abolition, and but great story, also love it. Bits of it was hard reading, captured some stuff, but couldn't put, I think I finished that in 3 days.
That's good.
I literally battered it. So those are what I love reading their day, when I just sit down and read. And I think reading is important. We've lost, especially the younger generation, they've lost reading because, like you said, Xbox and Instagram and texting and all of these things. But that's how you get language. That's how for me, you open your imagination and you escape into another world. I honestly, I love reading. I mean, I do enjoy watching Netflix too. I just binge Squid Game. So,
my kids are telling me about that. So I'm going to pass on Squid Game. I'm going to read the books from Jamaican authors, I think.
You know what? I did love Squid Game because it got you thinking about humanity, and is there any good left in humanity and in people?
Okay, all right, so that's a recommendation as well. I'll put that in the show notes too. Is there anything, so we've talked about so many things, so I know if people, and it's been fab, if people want to get to know you, see you on Instagram, how can people get hold of, and if they want to work with you, how can they get hold of you, Nicola?
Sure. Well, if anybody wants to get a hold of me, I am on Instagram. My Instagram handle is at NL_Marketing Ltd. So you can send me a DM, or I have a website, which is, nl-marketing.co.uk. And you can just send me an email and we can schedule a call. And if anybody wants a 30-minute free consultation call, I'm happy for them to do that and see where we go from there.
That'll be really good. I'd recommend that. That's something that I've done with Nicola, and it's been really, really useful. And we'll put all the links in the show notes so that you can do that. And before we go, it's been fabulous. Is there any tip or advice? You've given us so much, and it's been wonderful, that you'd like to leave the audience with, to sort of take them through the day, and sort of if they're thinking about, starting their own consultancy, their own business, or doing something different, if they want to think about marketing or whatever, what would you advise?
There is no magic formula. There is literally no magic formula. I know people hear, oh, do this, cheat that. No, there is no magic formula. It takes time, it takes patience, and it takes consistency. That's what it takes. And sometimes do you think, oh, am I growing? You are growing. It's just, you have to be patient. Anything good takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. All that glitters is not gold. It's probably glass. There is no, I say this, there is no magic formula. There is no magic formula. It's just patience, consistency, and time is what I would leave. Everywhere marketing is concerned, you just have to stick with it. Just stick with it.
Brilliant. And I love that, because it is hard work. It is looking at what you've done, isn't it? It's everything you said. It's planning, testing, seeing what resonates with people, what results you get, and then being consistent and not giving up and not despairing, and all the things you said. So you've given us so much. I want to thank you so much, Nicola. It's been an absolute pleasure. And that's it for the Dawn Jarvis show today. If you like what you've been hearing, and like, share, subscribe, and let us know in the comments what you think as well. And we'll talk to you soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Dawn Jarvis Show. If you enjoyed this episode, there are 2 things you can do. Number 1, leave Dawn a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. It would mean so much to her if you took a moment out of your time to post your thoughts on the show. It will help Dawn reach so many more people and help them with their well-being. Number 2, subscribe to Dawn's email list, the Diverse Nurse Digest, using the link in the show notes. Until the next time, thank you and goodbye.